Hi, Steve Draper here in Bellevue. Starting a new series here. For those of you who have completed the self-study course, this would be an excellent place for you to start after you've completed that course. And this is going to be on frame and panel construction. This is one of the basic building blocks that you can find in many items around your home. First example I'm going to show you right here is right here on kitchen cabinets. You can see these cabinet doors here is a perfect example of frame and panel construction. Now by frame, I mean these outside parts here are called the frame, and the center part here is called the panel. That's why it's called frame and panel construction. Now this construction, the pieces on here, these vertical pieces here, these two here are called stiles. And these two horizontal pieces are called rails. And then the center part is called a panel. Now that's the first example. Now here's a second example of frame and panel construction. This happens to be the upper part of a roll-top desk. And again, here you can see this one happens to have 6 panels across here. And you can see here, in this example, these shorter ones here, which actually, they look like they are stiles, but actually the way it's constructed, we would have to turn this 90 degrees, and these are actually the stiles here, and these here are actually the rails here. The rails always go in between the stiles. That's how you know how to call them what they're called. So even though this is oriented in this direction, these are still called rails because they're between the stiles, and these are called stiles because they incorporate or go outside of the rails. Now here I'm making another roll-top desk like the one I just showed you upstairs. This happens to be one of the bottom units for it, and this again has mostly all frame and panel construction. And you can see here on these sides here, okay, I happen to have here, there's a stile here, a stile there. There's actually another stile that's going vertically, but not all the way. And this stile here goes between these two rails. These are the main rails that go between the two stiles here. And I have an extra stile in the middle because I have 2 panels here. These are called raised panels, what these are here. You can see right here. Now, interior to it, we also have frame and panel construction for each of the individual drawer sections, and these dividers here in between are done in making a desk. Now, these particular frame and panels here are not a raised panel. In here are just simple flat pieces of plywood, and they're done to keep dust from falling in between the sections. Now this particular one happens to have, I've got in this one, this direction actually is the stiles because they go all the way across. The rails on this one actually go all the way down the length. And I'm going to have my assistant here. I'm going to set this on the floor so we can look at this a little more detail. So here we're looking down on the top of the unit, and as you can see here, this particular frame and panel here is what I told you before. These happen to be the stiles here, and the long ones here are rails because they're going in between, and I've got a flat panel in between. And this is the simplest here type of frame and panel that you can have, and this is the one that we'll be starting with in the next video, and is showing you how to do these simple frame and panel here. They're just done by using the dado set and cutting some tongues and grooves and able to do that. So these here have tongues on here that fit into the grooves that are in each of the stiles. And that's what we'll be learning in the next video.